So today I want to introduce you to a little bit of pelvic floor work, and we're going to approach it from a totally different direction. We're going to use a prop, which could be as simple as a pillow. And the other difference is that we're going to approach this from a nervous system regulation standpoint. And this is just going to be a little introduction, but this is where my work goes when I support people with pelvic floor. It's so much different than traditional pelvic floor work because we bring the nervous system regulation piece into it. We help the brain, the body, the heart space find safety within so that we can do the work in the pelvic floor with greater ease and less recoil and holding back. So what you'll need is a pillow, or if you have a myofascial ball. Now realize that some people are sensitive if they haven't done this work in the pelvic floor, and so starting on a traditional kind of standard size myofascial ball might be too much. Maybe you need a partially deflated one, or maybe you need a pillow. If you don't have a meditation cushion like this, that's not a big deal. You can use just any sort of pillow. And what you're gonna do is sit on that ball or the pillow. Now, if you have a ball, we can get really specific. The ball can go between the two sits bones. Those are the two bones in your tushy that you feel when you're sitting at a sporting event on a flat bleacher. And you want the ball to go between those two sits bones, right and left. And then you also want the ball to go between the tailbone and the pubic bone. And so we're in that tissue. Again, I've been doing this work for decades, so I can go right to a firmer myofascial ball, but you might want to start with something a little less intense. Now, right away, we're supporting our nervous system because we are giving it proprioception, that feedback that our nervous system loves, knowing where our body is, where we are positioned in space. But again, a lot of people don't have experience with this sort of tactile input to the pelvic floor. So just listen to your body, respect your body. Now, before we go into an actual awareness exercise for the pelvic floor, let's help our nervous system find safety. So we're going to do the fear paralysis reflex tapping, one of those main fight, flight, freeze reflexes. And if we can bring calm to that as we're on the pelvic floor, it's huge. Now, sometimes I'll have people do this before we even start to use the ball or the pillow for the pelvic floor, just so that their nervous system sort of has a little prep. But I want to make this video short for you, so I'm going to show you on the ball. One hand is placed on the breastbone. The other hand goes on top, and you're going to do a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, gentle tap. Pause for a moment, take a breath, and then switch other hand on top. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, pause, deep breath. And other hand on top. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, pause, deep breath. Let's slide our arms, make an X crossing the midline. That's important for our nervous system. And go to the opposite arm about a third of the way down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, pause, deep breath. And again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, pause, deep breath. One more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, pause, deep breath. Now, just give yourself a little squeeze at that opposite upper arm. The upper arms represent control. And a lot of us who at different phases in life feel a lack of control with pelvic floor. Maybe it's a stress incontinence issue. Maybe it's a bowel or bladder stress. Maybe you've got digestive stress, maybe Crohn's or celiac. And so your pelvic floor has a history with less control, with stress. So just acknowledging and holding those upper arms is a great place to go. Now, we just did the quickie version of fear paralysis because, again, I want to keep this short and realistic for you. In my membership and in my other programs, we go all the way through the body to the bottoms of the feet with that program or with that tapping. Now, today, I just brought you to the breastbone. You could just do breastbone, and then we went to the upper arm. But ideally, I like to do the upper arm when we're going to do pelvic floor work because it really does help with that control aspect of pelvic floor. And speaking of control, most people feel like they have to constantly engage their pelvic floor. And that can lead to something called hypertonicity, meaning too much tone, and can lead to spasms even in the pelvic floor. And I won't go too far off in this, but if you've got a low back issue, if you've got a hip issue, we have to look at pelvic floor. And that's really important to look at that. And if that tone is imbalanced there, it's going to affect the function of your pelvis as a whole, including your low back and your hips. Now, we're just going to do a simple breathing exercise. And connecting it to the pelvic floor contraction and relaxation. You don't have to sit crisscross applesauce. You could have your legs out in front. You could have your legs a little straighter. Do what works for you in this moment today. Now, take a deep breath in and imagine at first, because you may not really have a sense of it at first, but imagine the two sits bones separating. And then exhale and draw those two sits bones under each cheek together to squeeze that ball. And then inhale, open, and exhale, draw them together like you're squeezing the ball. And you'll feel your abdomen move a little bit as well. And in my programs, we tie the pelvic floor together with the abdominals and back structures, but we're just focused on pelvic floor right now. So take a deep breath in, feel the expansion of the sits bones. Exhale, draw the two sits bones together to squeeze that ball, and then let it go. Let it all go. That's really important. We'll talk about why in a moment. But very often people will feel the drawing together first because of the ball. They have the idea of squeezing the ball with the two sits bones. But again, I cannot emphasize enough, you want to let it go. Too many people learn a few pelvic floor exercises, very often incomplete pelvic floor exercises, and they keep that contraction, but you've got to release the pelvic floor. So it's an engagement of contraction, opening, contracting, and then open, release, let go. That is the most important part if you take nothing else from today. Now we're going to add a layer. As you breathe in, feel the pubic bone and tailbone separate. And as you exhale, feel like you're drawing the pubic bone and the tailbone towards the center, squeezing the ball. Inhale, expand and open, and exhale and draw them together. Now we're going to put it all together. Inhale, open those 4 points. Sits bone, pubic bone, tailbone, open and expand. Exhale, draw the two sits bones, the pubic bone and the tailbone together. Inhale, open and expand. Exhale, draw those 4 points together and relax. Let it all go. That is so important that you let it release, let it relax. So this is a very simple exercise to engage the pelvic floor, contract the pelvic floor, and then release it. Always finish with the release. That is so important. Now, we went about it differently because we did a very quick, simple nervous system regulation exercise to get you out of fight, flight, freeze. Your nervous system has to feel safety in order to allow you to actually release. So many of the people I work with women and men with pelvic floor issues, but tons of women are constantly trying to contract the pelvic floor. Maybe they've had babies, or maybe they've gone through menopause and they feel like their pelvic floor isn't showing up for them. And so many people have that imbalance in tone. You want to learn to open, expand it with your breath. Exhale, draw together on an exhale. And topic for another time, but why are women taught to exhale as they push a baby? You actually should inhale to help the baby get out because that opens the pelvic floor. Anyway, I digress. What I hope to share with that is that there's a lot of confusion, a lot of misinformation about pelvic floor health and strength and stability, and the missing piece is understanding the structure, when to breathe and open, when to contract and engage, and then to stay relaxed in between the effort and the function that's needed. And then also that missing piece truly is the nervous system. You've got to feel safe first. So I hope you enjoyed this. I love your questions. Drop them down below or reach out to me via email or on my socials.